you know, I've watched you. Sometimes our people disagree with you, but I mean, I understand some of your approach. I mean, sometimes we take a hard bite. It helps us as politicians.
Nowadays, when I listen to you, I even panic.
Why?
Maybe, hey,
Why do you panic?
the way you, Papa, you know, Papa.
Figuratively, he bites as hard as he can.
Okay.
And of course, when he puts his fangs into you, you certainly feel it. I think it prickles.
Watch Johnnie's bite.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Hasbanallahu wa ni'ma wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Friday. Welcome to Johnnie's Bike. Juma Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. And thanks to Sona Fashions in Tamale for my outfit this morning. This morning it has rained, so we know the drill. No unnecessary overtaking, no overspeeding. You know, take care of yourself. And we always speak as if all the roads in Ghana have been tarred. So we tell people not to speed; they should drive slowly. But there are very, very terrible roads in this country. So if you're driving through those as well, you want to be careful. Your sump and all your tie rods and everything else, you want to protect them because they're expensive. Fuel is expensive. Spare parts are expensive, and fuel has been increased on a coded low key, but we still have gold for oil. Well, yesterday I saw a press release from the, 2 days ago or so, from the GES. Put it up there. Interdiction of WAS headmistress. Quickly took me back to what happened at Fijai Secondary School. Put it up there. WAS. Management of Ghana Education Service has interdicted Dr. Mrs. Shine Agatha Ofori, headmistress of West Africa SHS, for unauthorized collection of money from students. She's to hand over the administration of the school to the Regional Director of Education pending final determination of the case by the Regional Disciplinary Committee. Cassandra Chuma-Pofo, head of the Public Relations Unit, signed this on the 19th of July 2023. She may just be doing her job, Cassandra. But Dr. Mrs. Shine Ofori, for those who were in secondary school at the time when she was a teacher, was a very fantastic English teacher. Fantastic, unparalleled English teacher. One of the best that you could find. She has gone on to do her PhD, and she's now a headmistress. Dare I say that she's being used as a scapegoat in this matter, because we all know, but we, as pretentious as we are as a country, we have come to the point where we pretend that all is well when indeed all is not well. I have said time without number, and I'm not the only one. Free SHS is a good policy. The implementation and the over-politicization is what is terrible and bad. And that's one of the 5 thematic areas in nation building that I think we should not politicize. Health, education, agric, economy, security. We have unfortunately politicized all of them. You heard a boogie in Abu Tape admitting that such a thing has happened. The police, I'm looking at the police, and headmistress has been asked to step aside, or headmistress has been asked to step aside. The police COP, has he been asked to step aside since the investigations began? That Mutromojo attitude must stop. So Shine Ofori is being used as a scapegoat, and I'm saying it because we know as parents and guardians on our WhatsApp pages, they ask us to contribute to feed their children. On our WhatsApp pages, they ask us to contribute to buy desks. On our WhatsApp pages, they ask us to buy stuff. Teachers' motivation and all of that, because the teachers, we know that the time that the children spend in school, they are unable to complete the curriculum. But they have to sit for an exam that has been set based on the contents of the curriculum. So there's a lot going on in the secondary schools that we are aware about. There's a lot. Food shortage recently happened. It took the minister to promise. That promise also failed. We took about 2-3 weeks to go and get the children food eventually. So how were the children surviving during those times when there was food shortage? We put so much pressure on the headmasters and headmistresses. As we speak, 28 special schools, school for the deaf, school for the blind, Jolo special school, blah, blah, blah. Their feeding grant has not been paid since January of this year. So how do you propose that the principals and the headmasters and headmistresses of these schools will be able to feed and sustain the children while they are in the schools? Chairs, beds, spaces for the children to even lay their heads is a problem. So if a headmistress decides to go out of their way to be innovative, and these days, you know, when we go for the PTA meetings that are not supposed to be in existence because they were outlawed, because we brought in the so-called free teachers. The silver collection, which every parent used to give now, the PTA chairmen are the ones who take the monies from the people and they say, oh, this one is not compulsory because go and tell anybody that the school is collecting money. How did we get here? You cannot do it. But you are forcing people to believe that you are able to do it. Same thing, we're giving people the false hope and the fakery that we give people free water and free electricity, when in fact we are paying for it, and we paid for it. So Mrs. Shinofori is being used as a scapegoat, and with immediate effect, she must be reinstated. This nonsense must stop. This is pure nonsense, because there's no sense in it, and whatever there's no sense in, it is nonsense, and it must stop. The headmistresses are put in a position of difficulty, and when they try to be innovative, they are punished for it. Head teachers, same. So they are all quiet and they are suffering. At that secondary technical, I'm told the lights are off. The students are sleeping in the dark. They've been in it since Tuesday. Somebody whose wife teaches there told me. Now, if since Tuesday the children are sleeping in darkness, and the headmaster puts on their WhatsApp, a dear parents, kindly contribute no kofio for us to buy ECG credit, so that the children will not be sleeping in the dark, because it has attendant effects of malaria and other things. But it is wrong. Would that parent be held? And how did the school come to owe ECG bills? Is it not because of the incompetence of the system and those who write these unnecessary press releases? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why are we so pretentious in this country? And now, there's a double identity. Bring me the letter from the National Cathedral Secretariat. Kusi Boating, Edu Jemfi, the double character. The matter of the double character. You know what the High Court said about it? It said the applicant in the case was Victor Kusi Boating, who approached the court to cause, right? He tried to cause the court to stop Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa from moving on a certain tangent of these revelations. And the court says, well, the attitude borders on criminality is there. Justice Chawe. Now, they requested for a diplomatic passport, October 27, 2021, which was also received by the Office of the President on the 2nd of November, or received on the Office of the President on the 3rd of November as well. These are the stamp. They requested for a diplomatic passport for a certain Kwabena Edu Jemfi. Bring it back. Kwabena Edu Jemfi, bring the request back from the National Cathedral. Kwabena Edu Jemfi, a.k.a. Reverend Victor Kusi Boating. Now, this is for a diplomatic passport. And if you know the weight of a diplomatic passport, it is supposed to be held by diplomats, head of mission, and their families, and those connected to them, people who are doing a proper national assignment on behalf of the nation. Diplomats. Because it is a dignified document. Now, the presidency also writes in response to this, because we don't have too much time, I can't read all the letter. It says, I write to inform you that approval has been granted for the issuance of a diplomatic passport in favor of Mr. Kwabena Edu Jemfi, aka Reverend Victor Kusi Boating. So the presidency even admits an AKA in an official letter. So in which name is the passport, or was the passport issued? Is this an undercover person doing work for the NIB, doing work for national security? Is this person working for Mossad? Is this person working for KGB? Is this person working for CIA, DEA? Is this person working for MI16? Now, what's interesting here is that there's a passport, and this passport has come into the public domain before. 1969, date of birth. Go to the DVLA document. There's also a DVLA document that shows a different date of birth of 1971. And yet we have sunk so much money to the National Cathedral. The pretentious nature that and this was known by the presidency. So all this while, if Samuel Okudzeto, a Black MP for North Tongue, has not spoken about these things, we wouldn't have known. And yet we're building the cathedral on such foundations, sinking money into the largest and most expensive hole in this world. And yet we will keep children in schools hungry. And then when their headmasters and headmistresses decided to put their thinking caps on, we will use them as scapegoats and suspend them. Was it not the same GS who said they were doing something about the Ganas, the school in the northern region, where the children are supposed to be sleeping in the washrooms as dormitories? The GS told us they were investigating, and in 2 weeks they will bring us the report. How many weeks has it been? Where is the report? Sometimes when you want to punish people, you look at yourself, assess yourself properly. Okudzeto Blackwell has brought this. The presidency has not responded to this because now it is becoming even more embarrassing. And the question that comes to mind immediately is that the president told us at the IEA debate, Mr. President, incorruptible Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as he was sold to us, he told us that he was going to use the Anas principle. And those who are close to Anas, you know that if Anas decides to use his principle, it means that he's going undercover. He is doing an extensive job. Right? The court added that applicant's assertion that the use of two names in the manner he has done is not a crime under our laws is misconceived, as the two identities were used in a pattern of duplicity depicting a lack of transparency, and this conduct borders on criminality. This was the dictum of the court. The president said he was going to use the Anas principle. So far, has he been able to master the courage to use the Anas principle? The incorruptible Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And these days, when the president speaks, he can't even mention corruption. Because the way and manner in which corruption has swallowed his government, he can't even mention corruption. He can't even think about it. He turns left, he sees corruption. He turns right, he sees corruption. He turns, goes forward, backward. Everywhere is corrupt. The battle is not the Lord's now. The battle is the loss. The battle is not the Lord's, so. And media, the battle is the loss. Agbena. Because the levels of corruption is unthinkable. Now you want to ask yourself, should we say Nana Tuaso or should we say Nana Chaso? Should we say Nana Tuaso or should we say Nana Chaso? The battle is the loss. It's not the loss now. It's the loss. So should Nana Tuaso or should Nana Chaso? And this is the point where I want to chaso. Good morning.